The first gospel, that of St. Mark, doesn't have the story of the birth of Jesus. In Mark's story, there is no angels floating above the manger. There is no sheep, no wise men. Mark's gospel starts with the story of St. John the Baptist. The same can be said of St. John's gospel. These two do not mention Bethlehem or Nazareth or manger or no room in the inn. It is the later stories of Luke and Matthew that create this beautiful Christmas narrative that we are so familiar with. But Mark and John, when they create the screenplay for the new TV series, The Life of Jesus, in the very first pilot episode, they cast as the main character John the Baptist. As a matter of fact, in this pilot, there is no mention of Jesus. Both in John and Mark, the first episode is all about John the Baptist, preparing the way for the Lord, setting the stage for the first episode to be really good, setting the stage for Jesus to shine when his time comes. In Mark and in John, John the Baptist is the one without whom Jesus would not have come. And in this first week of December, I think of the people without whom I would not have been here. So you see, I signed my first contract with St. Stanislaus 13 years ago with the people who were on the board of directors. Stan is still here. But they did all the work before I could come here. For almost 2 years, they were fighting for this church. For 2 years, they were doing what is right. And eventually, when time came, for 5 or 6 months, they were checking me out, finding if I'm crazy enough to come here. I think they found the crazy one for sure. But without these people, without these courageous members of our church, the stage would not have been set for our fight that really erupted on the Christmas Eve of 2005. Now, the people who were in the pews for those 2 years before I came, when there were no priests, they were my John Baptists. They set the stage for the first episode to be really spectacular. And I can think of a few other John the Baptists in my life. You may realize that when I was growing up in Poland in the 80s and early 90s, Poland was very much a communist country where the regime, the one and true party, controlled every single sphere of our life. You know, the regime told us what we can read, what we can watch, what music we can listen to. They censored and controlled every part of our life in Poland. But there was one place in the 80s and early 90s where the regime was powerless. That place was the church. We went to church to read the forbidden books, to watch the forbidden movies, to listen to the forbidden speakers. We went to church to be free because we couldn't be free anywhere else. For me, the church of my youth and teenage years was so-called Noah's Ark. We went to church to be free. So I have two pastors that really shaped my life and impressed me, those priests that made me think, I want to be as cool as he is. I want to be as freedom-fighting priest as he is. And they, too, were my John Baptists. And today I cannot mention my parents, who are here in the second pew, who par excellence were my John Baptists, just like yours. Our parents are truly the ones who set the stage for you to shine. Without your dedication, without their love, without their sacrifices, you would not be who you are. I would not be who I am without these two cute people. On this second Sunday of Advent, I invite you to be grateful for your John Baptists. Now, when we live our life, we think that it all started with me. But there were several pilot episodes before you came to the stage. And in these pilot episodes, there were giants on whose shoulders you stand. There were John the Baptist in your life before you appeared in Act 1, Stage 1, who prepared this life, this stage for you. Without your John the Baptists, you would not be able to be who you are today. Be grateful for them. Pray for them. Recognize all these giants who made it easier for you. I'm thinking of one of our parishioners, a lady in her 70s by now, who was one of the very first women to reach the rank of colonel in the military. She is one of those giants that many women follow in her path to become majors, colonels, generals even today. But back 40 or 30 years ago, she was one and only female with that rank. I remember and think of all the pioneers of the LGBT movement who fought for our freedom to love and marry whomever we want. I think of all the Catholics who are still fighting for the church to be the place of justice and freedom, to be once again that Noah's Ark of my childhood. You are who you are because of the giants who came before you. And today is a great day to pray for them, to recognize them, and to thank them. Amen.